Hey everyone, it's Marnie here for another Sunday video. Welcome to an Energy Healer's Guide to Spiritual Awakening. I'm Marnie and I'm the Energy Healer and Spiritual Coach over on my online platform, earthhearthealing.com, where I support light workers, old souls, star seeds, lineage healers, any kind of sensitive, self-aware person that likes to lean into the subtle realms of our existence in order to heal. So I teach the science of the auric field. Actually, I'm just creating a course now for children, which is pretty exciting. And we use that science to work with our energy field to come back into alignment with our divine blueprint, which is a higher vibrational template. Well, this is what I do in my business anyway. I've kind of piecemealed different things together over the years in my training. So we work with the divine blueprint, which is our fifth layer of our energy field, according to Barbara Brennan, in order to align with our best earth life version of ourselves. So to really be impactful, powerful, aligned, heart-centered beings who make a difference on this planet, because that's really the reason why we all came here, to change the world vibrationally. And before I get into some of your questions today, which is what I thought I'd do, I want to say a couple things. First is how much I enjoy and appreciate doing this on Sundays. It's something I look forward to. I have tea today, which I'm really happy to just sip here with you guys. I'm feeling very tired today. I had a really big opening this morning where I was crying so much. And even on the way home from my shopping today, just so you know, I live a pretty cool life, or I personally feel I live a really cool life. I drive a quad. I live on a dirt road on a mountainside, and I can stop along the beach on my way home if I want to, or, the beach is about 5-10 minutes away driving. And I just had this urge to go in the water and cry. And it was all about a childhood wound that I can't say I was really digging up, but I can see how the domino of that wound bled into my last relationship. And it was all about abandonment wounding, but also just a lack of presence from the masculine in childhood, which I don't really ever remember delving into on my healing journey. But it was a small version of me that missed her dad and loved him so much. And he wasn't there. And it's like as simple as that, just these simple requirements of presence that we need to grow up in a healthy way. So I don't know, I'm feeling tired. It felt like a deep excavation energetically. And that's a point I wanted to touch on is there's always something interesting walking by. There's literally just a cow walking down the road now by herself. There's a farm at the end of the road, and in Costa Rica, a lot of the animals get to run free. Well, they don't run, they mostly walk to graze, and the farmers will come and round them up when they get a little too far from their home. Okay. Yeah, as I said, I'm feeling a little tired today, so I might be slow with my messages. All right, so yeah, so feeling pretty drained, but on the other side of deep, when we cry as sensitive healers on the path, it's actually what it's doing is releasing energy. I mean, when it's old, when it's something coming out of the blue, like for me, I pulled the string of the cry, and I'm like, okay, if I just think about the fact that my parents weren't home that much when I was a kid, whoa, that's making me cry, And so I just let myself like mentally go into that, so that emotionally on the second layer of the field, something would come through. And I guess because it's so old, I really, it really took me for a bit of a what am I even trying to say today, guys? It took me for a little bit of a journey into myself energetically, which makes us tired. So I wanted to bring that up as a point of allowing slowness to come into our lives when it's necessary. So in the Western world, in the mainstream matrix, in the trauma-based matrix, as I like to call it, based on, just learning who created this world and how. So I call it the trauma-based matrix because it is literally trauma is a tool that the previous structure of our worldly matrix system uses to keep our energy small. So when we are in, I hope you enjoy the nature. I wonder how long this is going to last. Oh, the joys of filming outside. We got monkeys, we got dogs, we actually don't know what that is. That's some kind of bug. If anyone knows, let me know. Cows, horses, we got lots of things. So, so when we are in fight, flight, and that could just mean like running, like doing, always going. Fighting could be like aggressive conversations all the time, or defensive conversations, domination. Doesn't have to be physically fighting, it can also be a verbal energy. Freeze, so people who kind of just become complacent to life, forget about their inner compass. And fawn is kind of the extra caretaking version, when people are like super worried about others more than they're worried about themselves. And sometimes, all of these in a balance or in a self-awareness, they can be used as tools as well. It's just about when we're stuck in our unconscious reactions to life, where things get weird or traumatized, which keeps us small. So when we wake up to our heart, that's where whatever's kind of stuck in our subconscious from running in that program of being in our sympathetic nervous system, they'll want to come up to be healed. And that's the work of the healer. So every one of you out there watching this who resonates with being a healer, that's your work. To usually, we're old souls, and we have enough presence developed over lifetimes to crack through the matrix. I like to use Sri Aurobindo's science of soul embodiment and what I learned from reading some of his books. And I always, maybe I've said this before, but I like to experience things firsthand, let them happen through experience, and then I will research what happened to me and see how many sources I can get from different places that don't necessarily know each other, and they're saying similar things, and I've also experienced it, and that's what gives me my backing. So in Sri Aurobindo's words, he explains that over lifetimes we develop a light quotient, and that's actually what allows self-awareness to come into our day-to-day lives, is the level of soul energy we have animating our bodies. So compassion for the world, because it's good to have compassion, or to change our lens a little to see that we have kindergarten to like PhD level souls on this planet. Some people call it a school, some people call it a prison. It depends where you are in your energy, I guess. If it is true that we're changing the ages, and that's why there's so many of us out there ready to go, ready to do the work, because the more the merrier, and we each have a line of energy from our heritage that we're clearing out, and we're all doing the work together, and over time this elevates the vibration of the human collective. And that's coinciding with the Earth's evolution within the solar system. And it's just, we're right in the middle of a big transformation from 2020 to 2030. So lots of work's being done by all of us, and it's quite the journey to be here. And it's also exciting. So I hope as this channel continues on this year that more and more of you show up. I love the connection, and I'm really loving these videos. So yeah, so thanks for watching. Okay, so there was a point I wanted to say about this. It kind of ties into one of the questions that somebody wrote. And actually, I think a lot of the questions are from the same person. So the first one is about collective energy, and are we affected by the collective energy as sensitive people, or can we put our boundaries to stay independent? And I actually talked about this the other day. It's always the and. I think Teal Swan might have coined that, or she said it in some other way, but over time in my own journey, I also came to this realization that it's about the and the and the and the and. And healing is a paradox. Life is a paradox, but it's always both sides, and it's not this or that. It's this and that and that. And it depends where we are in our own growth, where we are in the moment, which truth we're going to resonate with, right? So does the collective energies affect us? Yes, and maybe no sometimes. So first one, if we are really empathic and just starting to grow our energy, grow our central channel, grow our embodiment of our frequency into the physical body. So our souls are full of life force, full of light, but it is a journey to bring that soul consciousness fully into our bodies. And you can tell when people are more embodied than others. A little point from my own journey is when I first started, I was literally, like, I could feel my energy was hovering. Like it was hovering in my body. I almost, barely noticed my feet walking on the floor, and I had a lot of energy in my upper chest and up here because, I was pulling stuff in, and as it goes down into the body, it's a bit like this, right? It takes more time to bring it down through the root into ground. And that's natural because of how our energetic system works. And we are aligned with linear time here when we come into this reality. So if we're really empathic and find ourselves like over attaching to others, or caretaking others, or doing that fawn response, that's a whole journey to learn what is you and what is not you, and how to take things on versus how to just be with something and hold space, or like how to not take things on and just be with something and hold space. And then when you walk away, you might notice that the energy stays with the person. If you're carrying it over into your life, then that's a journey to learn how to let go and release. And also there's an idea, or an aspect, that if we have unhealed wounds in ourselves, if someone else triggers or activates that in them, and we are resonating with it, maybe you're carrying it along with you on your way back home to your space. But it's also because it's something that you need to work on in yourself. So there's a whole bunch of nuance to it, and that's where learning just personal discernment, and only you will know what the answer is for you in that way. But the healed version of that, I would say, is having the ability to then hold space for people's pains and sufferings. Like when you're with them, You feel it, you can connect with it, you can be there with them. Being there with somebody is one of the most healing things that we can do in our day-to-day life, because we cannot heal others. People can only heal themselves. We can support that healing, of course, but holding space or showing up to be with somebody is going to allow them to see themselves more, to feel comfortable, for ourselves as well. Think about like when you share with a friend, or for me, it's been such a cool experience to start sharing on video. I feel so much freer just knowing that I can speak my voice. Like it's something shifted away, that there's no like dominating, overarching masculine energy telling me what to do or what to say, and or how to be, which tends to happen in someone who has narcissistic tendencies. Because I said it in an Instagram video, but for these types of people, their identity in the world is like kind of who they believe that they are. Whereas people who are more soul-centered or have a larger aspect of presence, we understand that just being alive, just breathing, just our soul essence is who we are, is enough to feel loved and to love ourselves. And actions are malleable and changeable, and we can do good actions and bad actions, and we'll have a feedback loop, a moral compass when our hearts are open as to what feels good and what doesn't, and we can always adjust our actions. And it's a little bit easier for the empathic person to like start taking and owning our space and speaking our truth in the way that someone who's more narcissistic would, is our journey to come into our power and to claim those the more expanded aspects of our nervous system and how we relate to the world. So like empathic people are kind of in the middle. We're in the like presence energy, the caretaking, the watching, the witnessing, the being with life that's around us. And the narcissistic person is in either like a depression or a like a shiny kind of energy. I mean, yeah, I guess that actually is, as I'm thinking it through, relatively true. So, yeah, okay. So next up about collective energies is we also have different soul heritages. Is that a word? Heritage? Different rays of energy that we come in through to this planet. Different family constellations of souls in the different dimensions. And so as the earth is now like changing her vibration and calling all of us humans to align with that, more healthier expression of human nature, I feel that there are gates and openings and from the higher levels that happen above and that trickle down into our world, that groups of souls will align with or connect with. And astrologically too, if you follow anything, any kind of astrologers out there, there's going to be themes related to the planets and how the energy shifting that will inform our microcosm experience of that. So we're all unique snowflakes, as I like to say. So the energy is going to be like a collective energy coming in from the galaxy, from our solar system, because every planet has a certain frequency, has a certain ability to activate different parts of who we are. And when they align in certain ways, we're going to have different paths activated. And as lineage healers and starseeds, we're going to have a particular focus on healing. So that's going to inform how we feel, and it's actually helpful sometimes to look into those stories if you find an astrologer that resonates with you. Okay, and then I wanted to bring in the human design because, for example, I am a projector. So if I stay with myself for too long, I'm going to lose my energy. I'm not going to make my own energy. I need people. That's why I so much love like the comments and to know people actually watching these videos, that I need to engage with others to get energy. And in return, projectors are able to direct and reflect and refine and align and streamline and make sense of questions and people's direction and support. Like we're kind of like the human resources types of people. And so that's important to know what your human design is, to see if you make your own energy or you don't. And from there, I think manifestors are the most, generators are the most common. We got the doggos. They're the most common, and so they actually have like a really good enclosed energy where they're making their own energy and they can stay in their own energy and kind of be with that for long periods of time. So it's easier for them to know who they are. At the same time, there's another train of thought that we have an energy field. I like to say we have 7 chakras because for me, 7, an aha moment went off when I was like 7 colors of the rainbow, 7 notes in a scale. It's like a completion number, you know? So to think of our ego as the 7 chakras and the 7 layers of our field, that's like our human egoic structure. But in truth, we have more chakras that'll go up and more chakras that go down. And we are all one in the end. So our energy field will eventually move out and touch other people and become parts of other people. So that's when, when we work to like transcend our bodies or go into oneness, that is us connecting with the oneness of life. And maybe it to such a high degree that separation dissolves. So that could be a potential of an experience. So yeah, I'm looking at my notes here. Are we connected to the collective is what I wrote. So yes and no. I mean, it's just as sophisticated as a house, right? Like there's doors, there's windows, there's rooms, there's places where we can't enter or we can. There's public spaces, private spaces if you're visiting someone's house. I mean, can enter or can't, I'm thinking like if there's like a lock on a door or something like that, so it's the same way with our energy. And another little point is I always like to grid. I haven't done this house where I just moved in, but I like to grid my house with crystals and do like some kind of intentional journey with that so that my energy is the energy that's filling the space, and that I do have like a safe zone, so to speak, which I find is important if you are working as a healer, to have places of solace. It could just be one room. It could be a whole house. It can be whatever feels right for you. So, next up on the questions. There was one question from a video that was, how do we establish boundaries with narcissists? And I have chosen to cut ties with these people. The bugs are getting loud, so I'm going to pause. You know what? It rained today, so I think all the animals are like out and about, are alive with life, and water is life, right? Okay, so narcissistic, from an energetic perspective, there's a spectrum of being a narcissist. And for one example, I got traumatized one year living close to some family members where I was labeled as a narcissist, coming from living like on the west coast of Canada, then coming and being so heart-centered and so empathic, but also very much in my identity, like, whoa, I'm an expanded light worker healer, and my energy, I'm going to be who I am. So I think, that's an idea of like being able to be present and then stepping into our empowerment too, to be the shiny version of ourselves, to be like, I guess, at some moments it's like to be the movie star version of who we are, but also with empathy and to fill the space. So that was a really difficult year because it's like, okay, then I had to go back and be small, which was my choice. Doesn't necessarily mean you have to do that. But I guess relating to the question, like narcissists kind of require us to be our small self so that they don't feel threatened. If you go up against narcissists with your own perspective, that's going to be threatening to that person in general. So it's like we always have to kind of fall in line and be in line with these people. So one thing to do is to like claim your empowerment, find your own space. When you're able, it's hard for us empathic people who grew up in narcissistic, abusive families because our individuality isn't fully developed because we weren't given that opportunity in childhood because it was threatening unconsciously to one of or both of our parents. So to claim your identity is like the first step. And I think once you're able to claim your independence, to stand on your own 2 feet, to, be able to pay your bills and have a job that aligns. Side note, I went so high up in the energy when I first woke up that to go back into the matrix was like, oh, I want to puke. Oh my God, get me out of here. I just want to go live in a monastery. Like, get me out of these denser vibrations. And, I lived a lot of years like that and worked as a nanny and worked doing jobs that were kind of like just on the edge of society. I cleaned houses. I was a supply teacher. And I always worked on my business during that time as well. It's been such a devotional project for me. But now I feel like it's the time in my journey where I want to go back into the matrix and like work and connect and be there and, having that ability to stand on our own 2 feet, to be fully empowered in ourselves, especially financially, I think is one really big key to being able to have relationships with narcissistic family members. Maybe you have to cut ties for a while to claim your identity. But as healers, if we're able to come back with compassion and firm boundaries, that doesn't necessarily mean you need to speak them out to, which might be threatening to that family member, but energetically to have them established is going to match up to their energy field. And you might be surprised at the different way that they're now relating to you. So if we're still codependent to our narcissistic parent, there's always going to be, some difficulty there. But if you kind of work, if you already cut ties with that person, if you work towards your full independence, as a healer, I mean, I wouldn't say this for everyone, but as healing souls, the real juice of the healing is to merge these two. It's like it's a trauma, it's a fracture in the way that we relate to our family unit. It's trauma. So eventually going back with your energy, and a slow drip is like the most healing way to do it. I would say it's just one baby step at a time. It's one holiday. It's one Sunday a month to have dinner. It's practicing presence and meeting every defense or obstacle with true compassion and love for the way that you respond to maybe their, and every person is different. When I'm thinking of my own family, there's so much love there too. It's really just unconscious programming that's running the show at this point. We have so many different lines of reality that can run at the same time. And our job is to heal the rifts or to merge the places where there are separation to come into wholeness. And that can, in my experience, that can only really be done through presence, through time spent. So that is my my response to that in this moment. Okay, last question on the list for today is, how do we tackle heart healing? How to tackle heart healing. And it's actually, I think, the same person who's talking about the collective. So yeah, heart healing. What I do in my business as a coach, as a healer, is I'm helping you navigate energetically the shifts that are required kind of through the rote programming. That is our nervous system and our energy field. And we use our high sense perception to move and shift and manipulate energy. But that is only, it's like, what's a good metaphor? Nothing's coming to mind, but I can just explain it as it is in the moment. So our life is actually our actions in life, the way we think, the way we feel, and what we do is actually really what's moving our energy and creating the shifts to stabilize them. But first, or in tandem, it's kind of like a dance. You can start wherever you feel called to start. And I guess the important part is that we kind of are able to touch into all of them, depending on where we feel called, all of the areas. So we have the inner world that we go into through guided meditation and breath work, and using our high sense perception to connect with whatever's going on through metaphor and visualization and imagery and felt sense and colors and emotional noticings and the subtle awareness of our body system, whether it's pressure, coolness, numbness, tension, heat, this kind of stuff. I've been working a lot with my solar plexus feeling imploded this last little while. And I'm also having this really interesting journey where I work at a small school with the idea of like that same kind of idea, like the victim and the aggressor energy, which we can also look at as just our solar plexus energy wanting to heal, come together right here so that it can then move up into the heart. So if our subconscious programming is connecting into our solar plexus, it's like, yeah, okay, it's hard and it's rough and tough to like stay empowered through that journey. And eventually it's going to come into the heart and it's going to be really beautiful. So yeah, so healing the rift between the victim and the aggressor is really a like huge vortex right now in my life. So that's another point to make with heart healing and how do we tackle it. So when you're shifting something in your own energy field, it's going to mirror in different parts of our reality. So it's like life becomes the puzzle to be solved, and how we respond to the outer world, what's coming towards us, how we embrace it, how we respond and not react, is really going to help us shift the energy. So what I do at Earth Art Healing is we focus on that alchemy of the heart to bring the subconscious energies up, which is something that probably most of you are doing through your devotion to the path, through your desire to stay present, to go within, and also through your actions in the world. And working with a healer or a coach is just going to make the journey quicker and more direct. And yeah, it's kind of like a guide. We act as guides. I do anyway. Who's the we out there? The healers, the healing professionals amongst us. So yeah, that's what heart healing, what it is like the alchemy of balancing vibrations, the discords that come from below, and also using the tools of the higher knowledge and the higher wisdom that come down from above, with our center line into this earth, through our hands, through our actions, coming out from the heart space. So I think that's it for today. Answering some questions, feeling tired. Yeah, really processing some old childhood wounding that came out today, which was a surprise. So grateful for that. I wonder if any of you out there have had some deep wounds coming forward to be healed this week, the eclipse. And yeah, I'll see you next week. Enjoy.